What is a Zionist? What is Zionism? Zionism is the liberation of the Hebrew nation.
Yeah,
that's it. It has nothing to do with controlling the world. It has nothing to do with oppressing non-Jews or non-Zionists or whatever they want to say.
It's a national liberation movement of the Jewish nation.
Yes.
And it is
horribly
having
defamed.
self-determination in our ancestral homeland. It's
exactly.
the Jewish nation's right to self-determination in our ancestral homeland.
Exactly.
And, by the way, as a Zionist movement, we at the Zionist Freedom Alliance believe in the right of all peoples to live freely in their homelands.
Absolutely.
Unmolested by imperialism or foreign aggression. And as a nation, as the Jewish nation, we know what it is to struggle. And we continue to struggle for our right to live freely in our ancestral homeland. And because of this, we, the Jewish people, share a special obligation to work towards the freedom of other nations fighting against oppression. It is our belief that Israel is not destined to be merely an isolationist nation, but rather a moral light that will improve the world for all humankind. We therefore assert that the state of Israel must become involved, to the extent that we are capable, in foreign struggles for national liberation, and we should do everything possible to assist the Kurdish people in their struggle for freedom from the 4 countries currently occupying Kurdistan. Now, we're fortunate to have with us on the line Ara Alan, who is a leader in the struggle to free Kurdistan in the United States. He's a president of the Kurdish Youth Club and a director of the Kurdish American Youth Organization. Ara Alan, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, can you please explain to our listeners the current situation between the Kurdish Workers' Party and Turkey?
Yes, sure. The Kurdish Workers' Party is established in the 70s in Turkey, and they have established to struggle for Kurdish rights within Turkey. And obviously because the Kurds cannot participate in any kind of politically in Turkey in any form of way, there has never been a Kurdish political party that was allowed to participate politically. Nonetheless, like the Kurdish language and culture and heritage is banned in Turkey. We don't even have a TV station, a school in our name, anything. But this bill today is really not about just the Kurdish Workers' Party that has arisen. It's about the Kurdistan regional government that's established in northern Iraq. This section of, it's a free section, is democratic. The Kurds have established it since 91, and they've been working on it ever since. We established a parliament and everything else. We promote democracy, promote businesses. The region is growing because, just like Israel, it's a lot of parallels between the two. This is the first time that we had a chance to build a nation for ourselves. And so we've taken it very seriously. We do our best, put all our efforts into it. And you can see just how Israel turned to green out of the desert after it's ruled by the Jews. Kurdistan is the same way right now. Iraqi Kurdistan I'm referring to.
So tell us, you say Iraqi Kurdistan, but where is Kurdistan? Tell our listeners, where is Kurdistan? What are the borders of Kurdistan?
Kurdistan is divided between Iraq, Iran, Turkey, and Syria. Composed of northern Iraq,
right,
southeast Turkey, east of Syria, and west of Iran.
So you're saying that Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Turkey are all occupying parts of Kurdistan?
That's correct. They occupy part of Kurdistan. Kurdistan, the land size is about the size of France. It's a big land.
Wow, that's huge.
The population is about 40 million people. Even though the census always tell different stories because this government try to limit or not acknowledge the Kurdish population.
Who? The Turkish government, the Iranian government, the Syrian government?
All of them have been, and we have been problem with all of them, with the Iranians, with Turkish, with Syrians, with Iraqis.
But now you have independence in northern Iraq?
We have a semi-independent. I mean, the world doesn't recognize we're independent, but it's pretty much independent. We have our own constitution, our own parliament, our own government. That's to an extent related to the Iraqi government. We also have rules that doesn't obey. We don't want to have a religious country, for example. Like most of the Iraqi Arabs want to have an Islamic state.
Right.
The Kurds don't want to do that. And so a lot of rules in our constitution will go against the Iraqi constitution because if they're based on religion. Like marriage laws and stuff like that, they contradict each other. And the Kurdistan is almost independent. I mean, we have almost everything for ourselves. And today, Turkey really see that as a danger to Turkey because they think that if that section of Kurdistan is free, they will aid the Kurdish population in Turkey to also to make themselves stronger. So, under any premise, Turkey wished to come into that region and make sure to hold it back and destabilize it. Also, what is supposed to happen in the region now, there is a city called Kirkuk. Kirkuk is in Kurdistan, but it's actually under the control of the Iraqi government. And they're supposed to hold a referendum there to bring Kirkuk back into Kurdistan. Many of the Kurdish leaders name Kirkuk as the Kurdish Jerusalem. It's a Kurdish city. It's a city that we have been always fighting for with the Iraqi government in the past, and not agreeing with them. All of our disagreements has came to that, because it's rich in oil and they want to control the city. For us, it's not about the oil. It's just about the city being Kurdish, and it's a Kurdish city that we like, just like any other Kurdish village, any other city. But for them, it has a different agenda. And the referendum is supposed to come in, and the result of the referendum most likely will be that it will come back under Kurdish government. This will make the KRG much stronger than it is, because Kirkuk itself alone has about 50% of Iraqi oil.
Wow.
Turkey does not wish this to happen because they see it as a danger. And so they want to come in under any premise to destabilize it. They fought with the PKK. It's really inside of Turkey. I mean, most of the battles take place in cities like Dasim, which is 200, 300 kilometers inside of Turkey. But in the news report said, after the fight, the rebels went back into Iraqi Kurdistan. Well, the rebels have to walk across mountains. You cannot walk across 300, 400 kilometers in a day or two. In reality of it, if you look at the situation.
But the rebels are in Turkey, or the rebels are coming from Iraqi Kurdistan?
They are mostly in Turkey. There are some of them in Iraqi Kurdistan, but they are on the border of Turkey and Iraqi Kurdistan. This is a very mountainous region, a very harsh region that nobody really can control. I mean, Turkey themselves, they've been there since the 70s. And Iraq and Turkey, back in those days, they had a contract that they can both chase Kurdish rebels, whether it be Iraqi Kurds or Turkey Kurds, into each other's little territories without being stopped for up to 15 kilometers, just to chase the Kurds down. And even with that, they were not able to stop it in the past. So it's just an excuse by Turkey used today to come into Iraqi Kurdistan to destabilize all the achievement that has been there, to hold back the Kurdish possibility of independence there.
Now, everybody is trying to hold back your independence. The Syrians, the Iraqis, the Turks, and the Iranians.
Syria, this is the only thing they agree with the Turks. I mean, Syria, and they control Kurdish population themselves. One of the first countries to say we're in support of this aggression was Syria. Bashar al-Assad went to Turkey, and from there, next to the Prime Minister of Turkey announced that he supported this aggression. And I think it's just for Turkey to come into there.
So, how close, in your opinion, is your struggle to victory? Can you speak of any significant success in the last number of years?
I think in Iraqi Kurdistan especially, this is the part that has had a chance right now.
Right.
It's pretty close. I mean, we have Kurdish military already, we have our parliament, we have our government system, our ministers, and you can see a lot of foreign investors coming into the region.
Can I, as an Israeli, come and visit?
Definitely. I mean, the Kurds, we love Israel. Honestly, to me, Israel is a model that we should build Kurdistan after, because we have so much in common, and there's so much. It's just a parallel to it, really. I mean, Israel was established pretty much from the outside, into the inside. Kurdistan has to be the same way. We really need the people, the Kurds from outside, to be able to work and lobby for the Kurdish state inside of Kurdistan, while the Kurds in Iraq or any other region supporting it. And a lot of the Arab nations, they bring this up all the time. Like, you guys, kind of like if you're doing something wrong, you guys are okay with Israel, or you guys recognize Israel, or stuff like that. And the Kurdish government says, we have no problem with Israel. Why should we not be okay with Israel? Why should we not recognize Israel? There's no reason. Actually, on the other hand, there's a lot of Israeli companies that, from what I hear, that were in Kurdistan, and they're like the airport security. They say they're actually built by an Israeli company.
The security,
right.
Security company that's helping to train your people to keep things safe.
Right.
Okay. Well, do you envision any immediate successes in the near future? Do you see any victories on the horizon, whether in what's now part of Turkey, what's now part of Syria? Do you guys see an opportunity to liberate more of your homeland from foreign rule?
I think in the parts of Turkey, for example, I think it's a little bit further, because Turkey is a very strong ally with the U.S. and within the member of NATO. So military-wise, I don't think we can do much, really. But I think in Turkey, they have to recognize some of the Kurdish rights, if nothing else. They have to recognize that they have a Kurdish population, which they only done so in 1997. Up to that point, Turkey didn't even acknowledge there's Kurds living in Turkey.
Right.
Which is crazy, because you had almost 20 million people that live there, and they just ignored. Like, if you look at the old history books, they all just say population of Turkey, Turks only. And we might be able to get some cultural rights. We might be able to get some recognition. As far as independence go in Turkey, I think it's a little bit further away. And
right. You have a
unless
much
you
bigger
get support.
challenge. I mean, than we had. The Jewish nation, had to fight to free our country from the British Empire. The British occupied our country, and we had to free our country from British rule. And then the Jordanians occupied parts of our country, and the Egyptians occupied parts of our country, and we had to liberate those parts from their rule. But and we did it in stages. But the Kurdish people, have to liberate your country from 4 different nations. So
Exactly.
you have to fight on 4 fronts at once. It must be very difficult to wage this struggle.